MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you are brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And yes, we are still building with the Tiny Living Stuff Pack. I have not felt this challenged in The Sims for a very long time, if ever. Like, honestly, have never felt this challenged. So I am very much enjoying trying to build a home for each tier that we got with this pack. So initially, my goal was to try to build a tiny home for a larger family. However, I immediately ended up with a small home. Seems to be, I don't know, it seems to be my preferred size compared to trying extremely hard to make micro homes, but I thought that this would kind of mix it up a little bit, so I came up with this small home, and of course there are still benefits to the tier 3 for this home, and I think it's mainly increased comfort and reduced bills for a small home. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't really read all of the perks that came with it. I just wanted to ensure that the tile count was appropriate, which was actually kind of hard. So a lot of my builds are bigger than this the more I look at it, which is like, that's really surprising to me because I feel as though my builds are really small. I see a lot of simmers make these incredibly huge like mansions and I don't know, just insane big and detailed builds. So making something like this was actually kind of surprising to me because it was still a challenge. It was still a lot smaller than I make, and that kind of gave me a new perspective on my my standard build size. It's usually bigger than this, so that was actually kind of nice to learn, I suppose. But I did really enjoy this home. I don't really know what I would distinguish the style as. It almost looks like a colonial home-ish, but I guess I'd mainly just call it like a suburban home. And this is actually for a family of 5 or 4, depending on how you may want to play or what you decide for yourself if you end up downloading this build and using it for any gameplay. So my thought was that it was a mom and dad, or just parents in general, and their 3 boys, 2 of which are a little bit older, so there's like a child sim and a teen sim, as well as a toddler. And I made the toddler decision at the last minute, so as we kind of approach the end of this build, you'll actually see me finish up the exterior, like the backyard, and then I head back inside to add everything for the toddler, because I thought it added a challenging element, because basically once the toddler ages up, there really isn't room for another bed in the current kid's room. So you'd have to make some design choices on how to actually acquire more space to accommodate that toddler as they grew into a child. Now, this might be annoying for some of you, and if it is, I apologize. Just don't download the house because it won't work for that, but I thought it was a unique challenge, and it's something that I kind of want to try working with. I want to kind of put a family in there and see if I can rework this home a little bit where it doesn't completely destroy the structural integrity, but it will accommodate a 3rd single bed because the toddler beds are a lot smaller. But I do really like how it came out, and I actually got that carport idea. I have done carports before, only in a few builds, maybe even one that's actively on the channel, and it was my Del Sol bungalow, I believe. But I did see recently that a few other simmers had made some carports, and it kind of reminded me how much I loved that idea, so I just wanted to tip my hat to them for kind of reigniting that in me, because I do love those realistic elements, and sometimes I forget about them because, of course, the cars aren't functional. So why would I remember to put them in? But I do like the look. I like the look that it provides because, like I said, it looks more realistic. And now we're on the interior, which I had so much fun creating. I had so much fun. It was such a challenge for me because I was trying to fit as many Sims as humanly possible in this home. And it seems as though a lot of the kitchens in my smaller homes with this pack have a very similar kitchen setup because I feel like it's the only way to really get everything you need in a kitchen. Like, I don't know, I couldn't think of any other layout other than adding this island, which I haven't provided in a lot of my smaller builds at this point. It's mainly been at least one countertop surface so your Sims can actually prepare food to be cooked on the stovetop, and I don't want them to just have that, so I always try to add another element such as a coffee pot, and if I can't fit a sink in a bathroom for any reason, it's nice to have one in the kitchen. So I kind of juggle around like those sacrifices and making those decisions as I proceed through one of these smaller builds, but I do really like this kitchen. There isn't really a dining table at all. This is the only place for people to sit and eat food, which I was okay making the decision to leave out a dining space because there is a couch and an armchair as well in the living room space that's basically in the same spot as the kitchen, and I figured they're just gonna sit there and eat their food. Not my ideal gameplay, but it could work for some of you guys, so I wanted to make sure that there was enough seating for everyone, and now I'm just adding some shelves with some random kitchen clutter. I didn't use all items from the Tiny Living pack either. I decided to try to really start using other items from other packs to match up with the Tiny Living items that we got. I did a little bit of it in my modern micro home, just because I used like another bed and maybe some other appliances, but I really wanted to try to mesh some of the styles from other packs with the Tiny Living stuff that we did get. And now I'm using a ton of debug items. Sometimes I get the spark to go ahead and use all of these and add this level of realism from the debug menu, so I grabbed a bunch of empty mugs and bowls and plates, and I stacked them over on this shelf here that is very much open. And these will actually not disappear when you download this build, as long as you have the BB Show Hidden Objects cheat on, as well as the BB Show Live Edit Objects cheat on. It should be good. I know those are lengthy, but sometimes I was choosing a few items from the debug menu that would completely disappear once I actually got a sim in there and started playtesting it. And I kind of let it fly a few times because I was like, well, clearly I don't understand what I'm doing. They disappeared for some reason. Who the freak knows? I don't know. Well, not me, but I kind of figured that out. Like, there are certain ones that'll disappear, certain ones that won't. Some of them will actually spoil, some of them won't, and your sims will have the urge to clean them up, which honestly only seems to happen with debug items. Other than that, my sims leave their stuff everywhere. Weird algorithm, don't know what's going on. But now I'm kind of working on the living space, and at first I was a little concerned because it did look a little cramped, but it works perfectly. I tested out everything, especially with these tinier homes. I have been extremely conscientious to playtest every single element that could be impeded because of the smaller space. And that's actually a really good perspective for me because I may not have been as thorough with my playtesting prior, so I apologize. Now I kind of have the urge and that perspective to playtest things very, very thoroughly for you guys, so you don't get a build and say, well, nothing works, looks great, but thanks for nothing, because that's probably how I would feel. But now I'm working on the living space, like I said, and I gave them a smaller TV. I put this painting above the TV, and I actually gave them an accent wall, which I do change later on to a very dark blue. I actually change up the color scheme a little bit downstairs once I kind of decide on the bedroom color scheme for the boys upstairs, but everything stays reasonably the same. So like I said, there is that love seat and the chair, and then I put down the rug that we got with Tiny Living, which I absolutely love. I love that rug. I kind of wish there were maybe even some more vibrant colors. They did a great job actually incorporating some neutral colors, which I feel like sometimes we lack with objects in game. So I was excited to kind of see the more neutrals matched with the very, very colorful and saturated buy items that we got, such as like this little console table and the beds and the bookcases and all that fun stuff. And yeah, I just really liked it. I thought it came together really nicely, and downstairs here is the only bathroom in the house, so you've got like 4 or 5 people sharing one bathroom, which can get a little chaotic, but I thought that that added to the challenge, so I did keep it in, and it is, like I said, a full bathroom. I didn't try to make any really Tiny Living adjustments in the bathroom. That seems to be a place where I can do a 2-tile bathroom, it works, but for family gameplay, I thought it was best to have like a full bathroom and not make the sacrifice of having a super teeny tiny bathroom. Do you know what I mean? Like in my modern micro home, it was for like 1 or 2 sims, and I felt like that was appropriate, but when you're actually doing family gameplay and you might have like a couple of kids, I just didn't want to do that to them. It makes them feel real to me. Like I didn't want to do that to them. It didn't seem right. So I gave them a full bathroom, and I also was thinking that they had a dog, which I really liked. So add even more bodies to the household. They've got 3 kids, there's the 2 parents, and maybe a dog or 2. So that's a lot. That's a lot going on in this really tiny space. And now I'm working on the parents' bedroom. Initially, I was kind of thinking that maybe it was just a single dad, but it could be whoever you want to play with. But now the more I think about it, I'm kind of thinking that it was just two parents, and the bedroom is kind of neutral, and it kind of looked a little drab to me, so I was trying to figure out the curtain situations, maybe lighten it up just a little bit, and adding some artwork to the walls definitely helped. And right here you can see me move the door, which, made perfect sense as I was moving objects around, but it doesn't work, because I don't know if you remembered, but that's basically where the staircase is. And I don't realize it until almost the end of the entire build, where I was like, oh, that door is literally over just an empty space where the staircase is, so I have to move the objects around. So this chair and the wardrobe that I place, I end up putting the wardrobe where the door is and moving the door where the wardrobe is. And that worked perfectly fine, though it did look a little awkward because that actually left the doors being right next to each other in that hallway, so the parents' bedroom door and the kids' bedroom door. It looks a little weird, but my main goal was to ensure that everything worked, so I guess in the end, I didn't really mind it, but if it bothers you, you might have to do some reshuffling. And now I'm working on the kids' room, and I finally used one of the little poofs that we got with the Tiny Living pack, which I was really excited about. But I do agree with most people who feel this way. I say most as if that really constitutes that I did any kind of study. But I did notice that a lot of people were talking about how the poof they thought should have been a chair. And I agree. I would not put a lamp on a poof. I'd put my butt on a poof. Like, I would sit on it because I feel like that's what it's for. But I did use it as an end table in this room, and I know that there's a mod out there already that turns that into a chair because people are amazing. But yeah, I thought it kind of should be a chair, but I do use it as an end table, and now I'm just kind of decorating the room here. So like I said, I think that one of them is a teen. I'm thinking that that is his bed there with the guitar poster, and then in the other corner is his little brother's bed. And I did shrink down that wall divider just to kind of separate the desk and bed space. And it works perfectly fine. My Sims were able to get to both beds, sit at the desk, use the wardrobe, get a book from the little quote-unquote bookshelf. Everything was perfect. If you guys run into snags, absolutely just let me know because I want to make sure that I can make any adjustments possible to make it as playable as possible. And here is where I realized that, yeah, I placed down a plant and like that door's at the end, but oh my God, they can't get in the room. What have I done? And I move it over. And I actually might even move it over again at the end. That's what it is. Yeah. Once I kind of do the backyard and I decide on the toddler bed, I have to move it again. So it moves a lot. It really does. It moves a lot. But I was really excited that I was able to get 2 bedrooms that fit a ton of Sims. And that allowed me to actually have a hallway because I feel like hallways are so realistic. And there are plenty of times that I don't include hallways because in The Sims they serve zero purpose. But they are nice to have, even though they take up a lot of space. And now I'm working on the backyard and I do give them a grill and just a little place to eat outside, as well as a swing set and a tent. And the thought behind the tent was that maybe like one of the parents likes to camp out back with a few of their kids. Maybe their kids are in scouts and they like to have little campouts and tell scary ghost stories and stuff like that outside when the weather's nice. And I really liked that idea. Of course, you may not be able to truly reenact that, but I thought it was really nice. And then I put the basketball hoop on the other end of the little car park, which I thought was great. So they have a lot of outdoor activities, even though the inside space is reasonably small. And I also toss out a few bikes just to kind of make it look like, you know, there are kids that live here and they have their bikes outside and all that stuff. And now I'm moving inside, adjusting those doors and adding the toddler bed, which is in the parents' bedroom. And I just use a little half wall to separate that spot. So yeah, we'll kind of see where the toddler ends up as they get older because there's not going to be a lot of room for them to move into. And it could be a very unique challenge to make sure that they have a spot to actually sleep as they become children. And I put some shelves over the bed here just to add some toys and kind of make that a toddler space instead of making it look like an afterthought. Do you know what I mean? Because it was an afterthought, but I wanted it to be at least a cozy spot for that toddler. And other than that, that is basically almost it. I swap out a door and the house is pretty much complete. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll definitely be making more homes and yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. And I'll catch you guys next time I post a video. Bye.
Through the wind, I give in. I'm storming, breaking like the tide.